My friends, every once in a while, a moment comes along that is so brief, so unexpected, and yet so powerful that it has the ability to shift the conversation of nations. It does not take hours of words, pages of explanation, or endless debates. Sometimes all it takes is 60 seconds that strike the world with truth, clarity, and courage. And when that moment arrives, the world listens. This was not simply a statement, it was a mirror held up to power, a reminder that dignity cannot be purchased, that independence cannot be silenced, and that the voice of a nation, when rooted in conviction, carries further than the noise of criticism. For too long, smaller voices have been told to stay quiet, to follow, to accept the terms given to them. But in that single minute, we witness something else. We witness the rise of confidence, the refusal to bow, the boldness to stand equal among equals. True strength has never been about the size of one's army, the height of one's buildings, or the wealth stored in one's banks. It is not defined by how loudly one can speak or how much influence one can command over others. True strength rests in something far deeper, far more enduring. It lies in the courage to speak the truth when silence feels easier, to hold firm when the world expects you to bend, and to carry conviction in your voice even when standing alone. History has shown us that the individuals and nations who rise above fear are not those who had the most resources, but those who dared to stay grounded in principles, even under immense pressure. Courage is not the absence of fear, but the mastery of it. When a person or a nation chooses to stand tall in the face of doubt, to defend what is right without trembling at the thought of consequences, that is the moment they display real power. It is a power that cannot be bought, borrowed, or imposed. It comes from within, from a spirit that values dignity over convenience and truth over approval. This kind of strength creates ripples that travel beyond borders and generations, inspiring others to find their own voice. It is the quiet but unshakable courage that turns a speech into a moment into a movement, and a movement into history. It is proof that while wealth can fade and power can shift, the courage to speak truth with conviction is what truly shapes the destiny of people and nations. The world has always paid attention to those who dare to challenge the script, who refuse to simply repeat the lines handed down to them, and instead write their own story with conviction and clarity. Leadership is not about echoing the voices of the powerful or following the well-worn path. It is about stepping forward with a fresh perspective, unafraid to question what others accept as unchangeable. When someone breaks the mold, when they bring honesty and originality into a room where rehearsed statements are the norm, the world cannot help but take notice. Authenticity has a power that scripted words can never match, because it carries the weight of sincerity. It is the difference between speaking for approval and speaking for purpose. A message delivered with conviction does not just inform, it transforms. It has the ability to pierce through noise, to rise above the clamor of competing agendas, and to settle deeply in the hearts of those who listen. What makes such a voice unforgettable is not just its sound, but its substance. The willingness to speak with clarity when ambiguity is easier, to stand firm when compromise would bring applause, and to tell the truth when comfort demands silence. That is what creates moments of impact. It reminds the world that real influence does not come from polished speeches alone, but from the courage to present an unshaken vision. Those who carry such clarity show that leadership is not about how many agree with you, but about how deeply you can inspire others to think, to question, and to believe in something greater than themselves. And in doing so, they leave behind not just words, but a legacy of authenticity that endures. Strength is not always about the size of one's army or the wealth of one's economy. True strength often lies in the confidence to stand tall, to speak with certainty, and to hold one's ground when the world expects hesitation. It is the quiet power that comes from knowing your identity, your values, and your worth, and carrying them into every conversation without fear of judgment. When a nation or a leader demonstrates that kind of self-assurance, it commands attention far more than displays of force or wealth ever could. The ability to look others in the eye and say, "This is who we are and this is what we stand for," creates a sense of respect that cannot be demanded. It must be earned. Confidence has a ripple effect. It inspires trust in allies, it unsettles those who doubt you, and it sets the tone for how the world will engage with you. It transforms negotiations into opportunities and challenges into victories, because it shifts the dynamic from defense to leadership. When strength is expressed through calm resolve rather than aggression, it shows maturity. It sends the message that you do not need to shout to be heard, nor do you need to bend to be respected. This kind of confidence becomes a beacon, not just for those within a nation's borders, but for others across the globe who look for examples of dignity in leadership. It proves that standing firm with grace can be more powerful than posturing with pride, and that lasting influence comes not from intimidation, but from the undeniable presence of strength rooted in conviction. In today's world, words carry power far beyond the room in which they are spoken. A single statement delivered in the room in which they are spoken, with clarity and conviction, can travel across oceans, shake political landscapes, and awaken people to new reality. When a leader speaks with honesty and precision, it sends a message that goes deeper than policy. It becomes a signal of intent, a declaration of purpose, and a reflection of character. Every word chosen carefully can either build trust or erode it, unite nations or divide them, inspire hope or fuel fear. This is why communication is more than an art. It is a responsibility. Leaders who understand the weight of their words are able to wield them as instruments of change, knowing that the right message at the right moment can alter the course of history. A clear and direct statement has the ability to silence doubt, cut through noise, and create momentum where hesitation once lived. It shows that strength does not always require long explanations or endless debates. Sometimes it is the brevity and sharpness of speech that makes it unforgettable. The impact of such communication lingers not just because of what was said, but because of the courage it took to say it plainly. People around the world recognize sincerity when they hear it, and they respond to it with respect, even when they may not agree. This is why impactful communication remains one of the most powerful tools of leadership, bridging differences, elevating conversations, and leaving an imprint on history that actions alone cannot achieve. In moments of great challenge, what often defines a nation is not the size of its military, the wealth of its economy, or the reach of its influence, but the resilience of its people. Resilience is the quiet force that allows a country to withstand storms, recover from setbacks, and rise stronger each time it is tested. It is found in the determination of workers who continue striving despite hardship, in the innovation of young minds who refuse to accept limitations, and in the unity of citizens who believe that together they can achieve what once seemed impossible. When a nation demonstrates resilience, it sends a message to the world that no challenge is too great to overcome, no obstacle too high to climb. This resilience is what turns struggle into strength, what transforms moments of doubt into milestones of progress. It shows that while adversity may slow a nation down, it cannot stop it from moving forward. Resilience also creates credibility on the global stage, because nations that refuse to break under pressure earn respect from allies and rivals alike. It reveals character, discipline, and an unwavering belief in a brighter future. In every era, history has proven that those who endure with resilience emerge not only intact, but elevated, commanding a place of honor in the story of human progress. It is through resilience that a people discover the depth of their own strength and the limitless potential of their collective spirit. Leadership is not about titles, positions, or speeches. It is about vision, responsibility, and the courage to act when others hesitate. True leadership is measured not in words spoken, but in the ability to inspire people to believe in something greater than themselves and to move forward with unity of purpose. It is about standing firm in the face of uncertainty, making choices that may not always be popular, but are necessary for the greater good. Leadership is the art of bringing clarity in times of confusion, hope in moments of despair, and direction when the path seems unclear. It is about lifting others up, showing them their own potential, and creating an environment where everyone feels they have a role in building something bigger. Great leaders do not seek the spotlight for themselves, they shine the light on others so that collective strength becomes the force that carries a nation forward. Leadership requires vision that sees beyond the immediate horizon and imagines what is possible, even when others can only see limits. It requires wisdom to balance ambition with humility and strength with compassion. Leadership is also about accountability, taking responsibility not just when things go well, but especially when they do not. It is about owning decisions, learning from mistakes, and continuing forward with determination. The greatest test of leadership comes not when times are easy, but when times are hard, when the pressure is immense and the outcome uncertain. It is in those moments that leaders show whether they are merely occupying a position or truly guiding their people toward a better tomorrow.